Zuck has brought out Threads this week.
Anything that starts with Zuck.
Zuck.
Yeah.
So we're recording this on Friday. It came out on Wednesday, was it?
Yesterday, Thursday.
But in America, I think it was.
They might have had us, yeah.
Anyway, we are 24 to 48 hours with Threads. So it's the new social platform that everyone was anticipating, then it came out.
We were anticipating for long.
No.
They've obviously been building it in secret for...
Valid.
There was some random talk about something to rival Twitter for a bit.
Yeah.
But it was like very much like speculative, like just we think this is what might happen type thing. But no, there was no confirmation, there was no real information about it.
Have you had to play around with it?
Yeah. Have you?
No. The reason why I haven't is because...
You don't do Instagram, do you?
I have an Instagram, but I haven't been on it for so long that I've now on a new phone and I haven't bothered to log in. I don't know what my logins are, and I'm understanding right, aren't I? That Threads, do you log into it or you connect it or something through your Instagram login?
Yeah, so which is actually it's clever because they've made it so easy.
Yeah.
So with any social media platform, as soon as a new one comes out, you're like, oh yeah, I want to have a look, and then you get to it and you have to go through that whole process of setting it up, verifying your email address, deciding what you're going to write in your profile, deciding which profile picture you're going to use, who you're going to follow. But they have made it very clever.
Is it like one button?
So you literally, like, the sign-in process is all done through your Instagram. So it imports all the same people that you follow on Instagram, so you don't have to go through all of that. It brings through your bio, it brings through your picture.
Clever,
it's very well done.
Yeah.
Like, to make it as seamless as possible to get people on it.
Yeah, smart move.
Very smart move.
I've seen a lot of the coverage, but I wanted to sit down with you really and just see from someone who is well and truly immersed in, from a marketing manager's perspective, well and truly immersed in digital, not least social. Let's talk about Threads first specifically, and it's obviously your very, very early stage.
I've not even written a thread yet.
Thoughts, without actually using the platform for content creation. And then second sort of part, I'd like to pick your brains as to you being a marketing manager in the role that you have and the responsibilities that you have, how you react, how you think when these new supposedly groundbreaking platforms are chucked into the mix. So firstly, we'll forget about that for now. Firstly, Threads itself. What have you seen, apart from we've talked about the sign-up process, what's your experience of it from whatever angle you wish? What's your experience of it so far?
So I spent a bit of time on it yesterday. Like I said, I haven't actually personally posted anything yet because I think for a lot of brands it's super important to, especially if you are well known in the social space. So there's a lot of brands that are really well known for their social media, and it's often the more witty brands.
And on Twitter.
Yeah.
Specifically, which is interesting for Threads going against them.
I think they're the ones that need to be on things like this super quick because you already have that. You're already known in the social space.
Yeah.
You're known for being, leaders and people following you for your content. They're the ones that have to be really quick on it. And I'm talking about people like Aldi.
Yeah. Have they got?
Yeah, like Netflix, like the ones that are funny.
Yeah.
They're the ones that I've seen jumped on it really quick.
Yeah.
And they're doing but the content they're putting out is just very similar to
I was going to ask you
what
that.
they'd put out. I think it's very, very similar to what you would see it's basically what you would see on Twitter, which is obviously what it's there for. But yeah, it doesn't feel that different.
Yeah.
It's slightly different in the layout. So it's a lot more Instagram based in the way that you interact with things, the way the layout is, the way you scroll through. It feels much more like that, which obviously you'd expect because it's linked to Instagram. It's by Meta. They're trying to make it all like a seamless thing where they feel like one and the same, I guess, like easy transfer between the two. But yeah, Is
it just words?
No, you can do pictures and you can, I think you can do videos.
Because obviously Twitter you can't you?
Yeah.
You can videos, pictures, obviously words.
Yeah.
So it is literally functionality-wise, is it a carbon copy so far?
So from the time I've spent on it, it looks very similar.
In terms of what you can create, but obviously you've said
in terms of style of content,
engagement wise, interaction wise, should I say, it feels like Instagram. It's what you.
I think the way that like your profile looks a bit more like your Instagram profile would.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And obviously a lot of the styling is very similar to Instagram to mimic that app experience.
Got you. Yeah.
In that sort of way, but then like your feed does just look pretty similar to a Twitter feed.
Are we at the stage where, and I want marketers' opinion here, why I'm asking you, and this is born out of me posting on LinkedIn, taking the piss out of Threads yesterday, and it was a marketing director, someone's comment on my post. Us marketers, it's like shiny new object syndrome. Are we just in that phase at the moment with it? Do you feel from a marketing perspective, or do you look at it as, there's an element of shiny new objects, you have to explore it, but like, is it do you immediately go into like strategic thinking on something like Threads? Like yesterday, what were you thinking? Were you trying to apply it to you? Like, were you trying to explore it in that, or are you just exploring it, just baseline, just having a look around?
So like I said, I've not done anything yet. The first thing that I would always do if there's a new social platform is I'd just get your username.
Right.
Especially from a brand point of view.
You mean secure it, get it as soon as possible. Yeah.
Just to make sure that you've got that for if you ever decide to go down the route of implementing into your strategy. Because if you come to like, I don't know how many months' time and you go, oh yeah, we really want to start branching out into that social platform, and then you can't get the username you use across the others, it's really annoying. Yeah, so I think that's the first thing to always do with any new platform is to just grab that. Yeah. So that's where I would always go first.
So have you done that for Flaunt?
Yeah, obviously.
Nice.
Like I said, it's tricky because I've not started using it yet. I have already. So just off the back of your post yesterday, which I know is like people might not have seen it, but you'd said about brands already saying these are results we've seen on Threads within like the first few hours, because they are awful for doing that. Well, not brands, agencies. I have already seen people this morning on LinkedIn putting out like, this is what we've seen so far on Threads in terms of like how to get engagement.
Oh my God.
Which, I mean, you look at it and you're like, oh, I suppose that is useful if like if we know that already, because we don't know anything about the platform, we don't know how it works, we don't know how the algorithm works. But then you're also like, it's been 24 hours. Yeah. No decent marketer would go, so say we started implementing a social media strategy for a client, we wouldn't go after 24 hours and tell them these are the trends we're seeing, this is where we're seeing the level of engagement on these posts. It's like, you don't know.
No. I don't think you should take the piss out of your audience in that way by like even asking them to consider listening to you or reading what you've just written, because like you say, like I'm pretty sure any marketer, anyone worth their salt knows that the first whatever phase of something like a new social platform landing, you have to be in experimentation mode.
Oh my God, yeah. And also like, because your audience is in an experimentation
mode. That's what I mean.
This is an audience using a brand new app. They don't know how to use it. They don't know how to interact with brands. Yeah. Yes, we're saying it mimics other apps. It mimics, you know, even like the tone of voices is quite similar to how people write on Twitter, for example. Yeah. But they're still working out how to use it. So you can't possibly say after 24 hours that you figured it out.
Audacity. The audacity of that. Yeah, I mean, it was hugely tongue-in-cheek what I was posting, but we know that there's people jumping on stuff, and not just jumping on it in a let's see what happens way, but this is what I've seen so far. You know that there's some people that'll take it 3 steps further and say, this is what we've seen so far, get in touch for a, you know, strategy, audit, anything like that. Yeah. Just utter bollocks.
But there's such a balance between... I'd say like one of the big things, yes, great listening to these people who might have spent 24 hours straight on it, analysing it.
Not slept.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of us other stuff to do.
Yeah.
But you've got to weigh up the worth of putting that much time and energy in early days. So it can be really beneficial to jump on a platform super early, because you can be one of the first people to utilise it and get that audience in early days, which can be really useful. We saw that with TikTok. We saw some of the early creators on TikTok did amazingly because they were jumping on it quickly, creating content that 100%. Resonated, and they kind of set the store for what was to come from TikTok. But it's really difficult to weigh up how much time you want to put into it in those early stages because you don't know where it's going to go. Like, look at Clubhouse.
Yeah. I was going to say, for every TikTok, there's a Clubhouse.
Exactly.
And Clubhouse was not that long ago, so it's quite fresh in the mind. Yeah,
it was 2020, was it?
Yeah, something
it was
like that.
It was like COVID times.
Yeah. So, yeah, TikTok, I mean, you're absolutely right. That's the most recent big success story of a new social platform landing. And then there's the Clubhouse, which has flopped, hasn't it?
Yeah, and you've got to weigh it up. You've got to, like, understand and
you're never going to be there
this
yet.
Could be a Clubhouse.
Exactly
so
that.
If you're going to put in a lot of time and energy in those early stages, you have to understand that, one, it could flip on its head very quickly in terms of how people use it, how engagement is tracked, how the content is shared, and also it could also just flop.
Yeah.
Because if it is too similar to a platform that already exists, Twitter, for all the people that hate Twitter, there's also a lot of people that still really like it.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and are very wedded into it. Twitter has been around for such a long time.
Exactly that, yeah.
That it's actually become, for a lot of people, it's just part of their day-to-day life.
Yeah.
And changing perceptions from that is really difficult. I think what we'll see is, from this, I think Twitter will keep its audience.
Yeah.
And a big part of Twitter's audience, which you'll know, is that, like, older generation. It's like the millennials, the boomers. They love Twitter because they've known it for so long.
Yeah.
Whereas what you might get is the younger audience, your Gen Z, will take to something like Threads as, like, their platform.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. You're completely right. And then I think of, like, everyone talked about TikTok, didn't they, in the early stages, being for the young sort of generation. It's not anymore. It's just done so successfully that it's every generation and everyone's sort of engaged and whatnot.
Definitely.
But my understanding so far is Threads has been launched very much, not by Zuckerberg, obviously, although he has actually talked about Twitter in his launch for Threads, but it's been launched as this is a better Twitter, whereas I don't feel like TikTok was, like, launched as this is quite linearly, like, this is TikTok, this is our better alternative to, for example, YouTube. I know it was talked about in the same sort of realms, and the same sort of circles, because it was a video
it's
platform.
Completely different.
But I don't think, whereas I think Threads might, and I'm not saying it's going to flop, absolutely not, but to your point, which I completely agree with, and I'm one of maybe millions of people around the world that is this case, I'm not going to go into Threads.
You love Twitter.
I love Twitter, and I've noticed.
And you don't use Instagram.
And I don't use Instagram, so
they're the big factors.
There's going to be people like me, 100%.
Those generations that live on Instagram, they're way more likely to do it because it's all nicely linked.
Yeah.
You've got that seamless transition between the two, whereas a lot of your Twitter users, and I'm saying, like, this is a very much a generalisation, a lot of your older, more established Twitter users probably don't use Instagram day to day. They might have it, they might post every now and then, but they probably don't use it and have the same communities on there as younger generations might, who are the people that I think will jump onto Threads.
It's going to be interesting to see it, because I don't think there's ever been a, like, come away from Twitter, come away from existing social platform that has this functionality and this layout, and come over to this absolute almost carbon copy of it.
Yep.
Like I said, TikTok came out and it wasn't this is just another YouTube. It was positioned slightly different, whatever. Whereas Threads, this is only my opinion, it's not like fact. My understanding of how Threads has been launched in the circles it's been talked about and whatnot is, yeah, Twitter exists, but this is better than Twitter. It is Twitter, effectively, but it's better. Yeah, so I don't think the loyalty of the Twitter audience is going to be so sort of mass market that it is up for question, that it's going to be on such a big scale that Twitter is just going to lose absolutely everyone overnight.
I totally agree. Threads. I think you'll see new creators, and that's what you always get with a new platform.
Yeah.
So when TikTok launched, you got brand new creators because they had a new way to create content. It was different. They had a chance to put their own stamp on it, and they didn't have loads of competition.
Yeah.
So when a platform is very early days, so you go to Twitter now, you've got people on Twitter that have been on Twitter for years. Like, when did Twitter start? It was like the noughties.
Yeah, absolutely.
So some people
years
could have
ago.
been on that for 15 odd years. I'm not 100% sure what year
Years
it started,
and years anyway,
but a very long time.
Yeah.
Which means naturally, like if you have been consistent on a platform for such a long time, obviously you will have built up a following.
Yeah.
Like that's inevitable. We all know consistency over time that is going to get you that following. So there are people on there that are very, very established and they won't move away. Whereas to then break into a market that has been going for so long as a new creator can be really difficult.
Yeah.
But what a new platform does is it opens that market right up for all these new people to come in, make their mark and build up a following really quick.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like this is more of a general conversation using Threads as like the anchor? So in other words, new social platforms that are popping up here, there and everywhere. Be Real was a relatively recent one that I know nothing about. Do you feel as a marketing manager, do you feel an obligation when these things pop up? Do you feel like almost like not a panic, because I don't mean it in a negative way, like obliged to be like, right, this is another one we're going to have to sort of tick off? Or do you just look at it as an exciting thing to experiment with? Is it a mixture of both, like fucking hell another one, or like, oh fucking hell, this is could be an opportunity? Like, does it depend completely on what you've heard or think about the platform? Or generally, when all these new ones are popping up, do you just think this is another one I'm going to have to get to grips with? Or do you see it opportunity, or is it a mix of everything?
I'd always like to go in looking for the opportunity.
Yeah.
I'd always want to go in with that mindset of, right, where can we use this? Because like I said, early days, we know if you get in there early, it can be really advantageous to you, whatever business you are. There are platforms that I would never bother to touch for Flawn.
Yeah.
Be Real is, I think, there's a few brands on it. I actually still love Be Real.
Do you?
So I do my Be Real every single day. I've only got like 15 friends.
Nice.
But I like it. They're like some of my closest friends, and I just get to like see what they're doing like day to day.
Yeah.
There are a few brands that have tried it and do still use it like as a brand account. But to be honest, I've not heard anybody see like huge success from it. I haven't seen massive case studies, to be honest. I've not looked into it too much.
Right.
But it's, again, there's no adverts. It's not a selling platform. It's purely like a social platform, and it's quite a personal platform.
Right.
Like giving a look into somebody's, into like just a snapshot of somebody's day is a really personal thing.
Well, it is, isn't it? Yeah.
So it's quite hard for brands, I think, to utilise that. And it's not a brand first platform, which is actually really refreshing to see. And I think that's why a lot of people still quite like it.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think there's still big changes to come from Be Real, because I don't see how they can't start to implement advertising at some point.
Yeah, it's still immature, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's one to keep an eye on. But that's one I'd never bother with for Flawn, because
Yeah.
I just, at the moment, I don't see the worth of it. I don't see how it would benefit us, so I won't bother. Like similar stuff, like, have you heard of Lemonade?
I've only seen it mentioned in all the Threads bloody launch stuff. I've never heard of it before, like this week.
It's quite nice, actually, Lemonade. It's a bit different, so it's quite selective in terms of the content that is put on there. So it's very much around like fashion, beauty, like that sort of thing. And it's a bit more of the style of like Pinterest.
Right.
Which is nice, because Pinterest can be a bit diluted sometimes. So it's a way to just make it, really hone in on those like individual sort of content pieces.
Nice.
So again, obviously I've never bothered with that for Flawn, because we don't fit into that niche.
Yeah.
There's always these things like, oh, well, maybe if we posted, we would be that niche. But then I'm also like, those people aren't there for that. So what would be the point? You go to where there's intent.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I like what you said, that like, there's drilling next door. Apologies.
Yeah, this isn't just a weird noise in the studio. The office next door is being done up.
I like how you said you'd look for the opportunity. Basically, what I take from that is new social platform comes about, and obviously if you had your prerequisite that you just already sort of ruled it out, that it just wasn't worth it, it sounds like you give it a chance, which I like.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And like Threads, I can see how there could be really nice opportunities for us, because to be honest, we don't try and sell through social.
No.
I would never put forward a strategy that's social selling, because it's just not us.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit what we do.
Yeah.
It's not. It's just not. It wouldn't factor into our strategy in any way. Our socials are very much just a bit of awareness, get an idea of the team. And, you know, I like to make them a fun thing that the team can get involved with, which I think is really important.
It's good and interesting that, you know, 24, 48 hours in, you said, I do think there could be an opportunity for us on Threads. That's promising, isn't it?
I think it fits nicely with our brand, and it's a really nice platform to, you know, it's nice sometimes just to have words. And you get that mix between the two of them, because I think and we've used Twitter in the past. I wouldn't say, like, you know, we've not really pushed it.
No. There's an SEO community on there, isn't there?
There is an SEO community, but I think, you know, we've sort of already tapped into that with, you know, just our own individual account type thing.
Yeah.
But I think Threads will be interesting. But I think it's, you know, like Twitter, it's very similar to give a nice narrative to what's going on day to day.
Yeah.
Which, you know, you can do that through pictures on, like, Instagram stories and things like that. But actually, it's, you know, if you're already doing that, you might as well convert it to somewhere else as well. And why not?
Yeah.
You've got to give it a go, I think.
I agree. So before we wrap up, new format.
Oh, no.
It needs to be called something like this or that.
I called the last episode this one.
This or that, but what my slant on it is, obviously you can't say it depends. So we need to come up with a thing.
Now you put that in my head, I'm going to say it.
But I'm gonna have to, like, make a noise if you say that, like, and then you have
to get a buzzer?
You have to go again. We should. Right. So I'll fire these. We're literally gonna spend seconds before more drilling is heard.
Yeah, no, I can hear it on the wall.
Remember, can't say it depends. Design or copy?
Ooh, design. I think you can say a hell of a lot with a picture. Obviously, you can say a lot with words, but you've got to get it right, and not a lot of people do.
Data-led or gut instinct?
I'm a gut instinct person. Obviously, I would always try and back it up with data, but you know full well that I am like... I think once you've been in particularly marketing, once you've been in a marketing world for a long time and you've worked, like, representing a brand for a long time, you know what works. Yeah. You don't have to prove it.
I heard gut instinct as your first answer, so I'm taking that. Right, moving on. SEO or paid? I love asking this. Lee obviously said SEO because of his background, but SEO or paid?
I'm going to say SEO.
Nice.
Because
I'm going to say you don't have to justify it, but
I'm going to give my reasons. I think through SEO you can establish your brand a lot more. So SEO's for life. That was deep.
Paid's just for Christmas.
No, obviously I can massively see the value in both, but I think you need SEO before you do paid, which is why I would pick it.
Cool. I'm going to give you 3 more. Sprite or 7-Up?
God. 7-Up.
Threads or Twitter?
For today, I'm going to say Threads.
And then a nice one. Reading books or watching webinars? You take that however you think I mean it.
I'd say books, but for those types of books, I actually listen to them on an audiobook, as in webinar style books.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Thank you for playing my game.
You are welcome.